Thank you, everybody. My name is Luke Novak with Rothschild. If I haven't had the pleasure, I oversee the corporate retirement plan practice for Rothschild. Several of my colleagues are on in the background as well. If you do have questions after this meeting, you feel like you didn't get answered, please do feel free to send us an email, give us a phone call. HR teams will know how to get in touch with us. With that said, I want to turn it over to the folks with Social Security here. It's such an important topic, a topic that I think a lot of folks have trepidations and concerns about and are curious about. These folks do a wonderful job here, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. They have a pre-built presentation. I don't want to necessarily have to stay right on topic with what they're talking about. So if you've just joined the conversation here, I do want to encourage you, use the Q&A feature. I'll moderate, ask questions as they come up. Without further ado, Josephine, I've got still show you as the host. If you want me to switch that over to Daniel, I'll do that. If not, take it away.
Yeah, if you could switch it over, Luke, to Daniel, so that way he can share the PowerPoint once he has that up. But I'll go ahead and introduce myself
Daniel,
to everyone here. Thank you so much for inviting us. My name is Josephine Mueller. As Luke stated, I am a public affairs specialist with the Social Security Administration. And what that means is that as a public affairs specialist, I get to share information about Social Security's benefits and programs with the community, with you. And when I first started with the agency, I started off as a claims specialist, who is an individual who takes retirement applications, disability applications, Medicare applications, Social Security card applications at the local field office. So when I started with the agency, that's what I did. So I'm very familiar with the entire application process, all of the policies and programs that Social Security has to offer. So I'm not here alone, though. I'm also here with my colleague, Mr. Daniel Summer, and he is also a public affairs specialist. Daniel has a he's got very extensive knowledge regarding Social Security's benefits and programs as well. He has been with the agency over 15 years. And so I'm excited to be here with him today. And so I'm going to go ahead and let him work on pulling up the PowerPoint. But I do want to start off with sharing how to get in touch with Social Security. Here at Social Security, if you are looking to do business with us and you are looking to apply for benefits, or even if you have questions, you can visit our website at socialsecurity.gov. That is the most convenient way to get in touch with us. If you go to our website at socialsecurity.gov, the first method to get in touch with us is online, and the most convenient way to get in touch with us. If you create a My Social Security account, you'll be able to access your information as well as complete many transactions that you would do with us on phone or in person online in the comfort of your own home. So that's the first method of getting in contact with us. The second method of getting in contact with us is by phone. So you can give us a call on our national Social Security hotline, which is 1-800-772-1213. We have representatives answering this hotline from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. Can assist you with any questions that you have. If you'd like to schedule an appointment, they can also schedule an appointment for you and complete many transactions right over the phone. And that's the second method to get in contact with Social Security, is by calling us at 1-800-772-1213. Now, the third way to get in contact with Social Security is by visiting your local Social Security field office. And an individual can visit our website and type in SSA locator, field office locator, and find out exactly where their local office is. Our offices are open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, with the exceptions of federal holidays. So you can always visit your local field office. If you're unable to conduct your business via online or via phone, you can most certainly visit us at the local field office, and we can go ahead.
Josephine, I'm going to pause you there. Daniel, is there any support we can offer you, or do you have the deck? You can always forward it to me, or.
Oh, well, my wonderful situation and computer here is just doing its not sending thing that it's done. Josie, maybe you could forward it to Luke, and I'll just.
What I'm gonna
I just think
do.
we should, because mine, my computer issues as of late. But we could just go into the presentation, and then he can catch up with us a slide or two, if you'd like.
Yeah, and Luke, I just sent that over right now from my other computer, and it went to Justin as well. So Justin has the deck as well. So that should be in your inbox now.
Okay. I will hopefully get that in a moment. I have a question that came up. So since we are waiting to show,
Sure.
and this is going to be a very, very common question. So we have it from, if I am 65 and still working and signed up for the company insurance. So that's the fact pattern so far. I did not sign up for Medicare because I have company insurance. Do I need to do anything so that Medicare knows I'm not signing up because I have company medical care?
Just gotta let me take this one because I love this question. I've
Go
heard
for
it
it.
before, and a lot of people worry about that. You'll get penalties if you don't sign up right when you're eligible. Well, that's only true if you do not have group health insurance coverage through your own or a spouse's employer. So actually, you don't need to do anything so that Medicare knows you're not signing up because you have medical care until it's time for you to sign up. Now, if that's much later, 67, 68, 90, you can extend this out as long as you have group health insurance coverage through your own or spouse's employer with no penalty. But when you do come in, we're going to have two forms. One you'll sign up for medical care with, and the other one goes to your employer. And it basically asks, do you know this person? Yes. Did they work for you? Yes. From when to when? Did they have group health insurance coverage? Yes. From when to when? So therefore, that's all taken care of on that at that time. So you don't have to do anything in advance. That's a great question, though.
Yeah, great question. And we are going to talk a little bit more about Medicare throughout the presentation. We are going to get to the enrollment period. So thank you for answering that, Mr. Summer. So we can go ahead and move on.
I do have it. We'll be up in a second.
Great. Thank you so much,
Awesome.
Luke. And thank you everyone for your patience as we get this slide deck up. But I'm so glad that I was able to share with everybody here how to get in touch with Social Security, because that is so important to know the different ways on how to get in touch with us. And it looks here, it's that third slide here that we have how to get in touch with us. And that is exactly what I had just mentioned. And then if you go to the next slide there, it'll say, please visit our field office locator. That's the locator that we have on our website at ssa.gov. If you enter in your zip code and click locate, you're going to find exactly where your local office address is, and you're going to be able to visit us if you are someone who is seeking to see us in person. But once again, the most convenient way to do business with us is online or via phone. Now, Social Security is with you throughout life's journey. As you'll see here in this next slide, there's some beautiful pictures of different moments in our life and how we're with you throughout life's journey. And part of that journey is when you start working. And Social Security is with you because when you start working, Social Security FICA taxes start to come out of your paycheck. I know when I was 15, eager to receive that first paycheck, I saw that there were deductions and I didn't understand why. So I complained about it. But now I realize that the reason there are deductions is because the benefits are going to be there for me later on. So the deductions that are taken out are FICA, and FICA stands for the U.S. federal payroll tax that's deducted from each paycheck. And the total deducted is 7.65%, and your employer matches this for a total of 15.3%. It helps fund both Social Security and Medicare programs, which provide benefits for individuals who retire, individuals who become disabled, as well as children, survivors, spouses, and so much more. So,
And Josephine, if I could jump in, because it seems like we had a follow-up to that
Yes,
question
definitely.
that was just asked. Would your employer stop your medical insurance if you sign the forms verifying medical insurance coverage? This would force you to go with Medicare. I'll punt to Social Security, and then I'll have a comment as well. So I don't know if either of you want to answer that.
Yeah, do you want to go ahead and take that one, Mr. Summer?
I certainly can. If the question keeps moving, bear with me a second. Okay. Now, if you sign the forms verifying medical insurance coverage, that's not agreeing to anything. That's when you decide that you're going to go with Medicare. So it's completely up to you when you come in to do that. And it doesn't force you to go with Medicare. There are people who have both their employer coverage and Medicare, but most people find that unnecessary. And your employer probably wouldn't stop your medical insurance coverage until you ask them to. So that's not something that would be worried about.
And Mr. Summers, I've got to follow up to that. I have health insurance in my company. I've already signed up for Part A. If I decide to go with Part B and drop my employer's health insurance, when can I do that? Do I have to choose Medicare Part B provider at that time?
Well, Medicare Part B comes directly from the government, so there's not an issue of what provider. Like some other things, you go with SilverScript, you go with Humana, you go with et cetera. No, Part B comes directly from the government. So if you drop your employer's coverage and you decided to do that, you don't choose a Part B provider. Part B is universal. Now, if you chose to go with something else other than A or B, for instance, you want a Part C plan, those come from private companies, but original Medicare Parts A and B are directly from the government. So there is no provider to choose. Great question.
I have, and she just said, when should I do that? When should I and drop my employer's? When can I do that? She's asked.
Well, if you're doing it in your initial enrollment period, that's right when you turn 65. I'd always say you want to sign up 3 months prior if you can, because it will start the same month you turn 65, even if you're born in the middle or the last day of the month. It starts the first day of that month, if that's when you want to do it. If you decide at some other time that you're going to wait and then you'll pick it up at that time, then again, we give you a special enrollment period, which we sign you up right away for it because you have coverage. We don't make you wait or delay, but we always say plan that a couple of months in advance and then say, I want my coverage to begin, say March, but come in January or December, just so you get your card and everything ahead of time. That way, you know, it's taken care of.
And
No
there was a second. Yep. There was another question I think you just answered with, if I have coverage and I'm over 65, when should I apply so that there isn't a gap? And it sounds like you said, try to 2 or 3 months ahead of time. Is that correct?
Right. 3 months is optimal. Yes.
All right. I'm going to turn it back over to Josephine. I have a number of questions that are about to be answered through the deck. And so, Josephine.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you for those questions and thank you for those answers, Mr. Summer. So we're going to go back here to the deck, and a great question that we receive, another great question that we receive very frequently is, how do you qualify for retirement benefits? And the answer to this is we qualify by earning credits. And when we're working and paying into Social Security taxes, that's what we're doing. We're earning those credits, and we need 40 credits, which is 10 years of work. So if you have at least 10 years of work and paying into the system, into FICA taxes, and you are 62 or older, you're going to be eligible for retirement benefits. This year in 2023, each $1,640 in earnings gives you 1 credit. So that's how much you have to earn this year in 2023 to receive 1 credit. And the maximum amount of credits that you can earn in any given year are 4. And so if you earn this year in 2023 a $6,560, then you're going to earn the full 4 credits. And you may be wondering, well, I'm going to earn more than that. Can I get a few more credits? And the answer to that is no, because keep in mind, the maximum that we can earn in any given year are 4 credits. So we also get another follow-up question. People ask us, well, how does Social Security determine my benefit? My mom receives one amount, my dad received another, my neighbor next door receives a completely different monthly amount. How is this happening? How is this so? Well, this is because our benefits are based on our earnings, and each one of our earnings record is going to look different. And that's because we all have worked and earned different amounts throughout our career. And so Social Security takes 3 steps to calculate your monthly Social Security retirement benefit. The first step is that your wages are adjusted for changes in wage levels over time. The second step is we find the monthly average of your highest 35 years of your work earnings. And the third is the result, which is the average index monthly earning. Essentially, we're looking at the highest 35 years of your work earnings to calculate your monthly Social Security retirement benefit. Now, on our website, we have several different calculators that you can use to calculate your benefits. You just have to visit us at ssa.gov/planners/calculators to check those out. And so, of course, we would not miss your retirement party. So let's talk a little bit more about Social Security retirement benefits, because
I want to
Another
pause
great
you here,
question.
Josephine.
Yeah,
There's
go ahead.
several questions that are going to come up right now, folks. So if you've asked a question in the chat, that this is going to be a slide that you're going to want to pay attention to. Go ahead, Josephine.
And I'm
Great.
typing also those answers.
Excellent.
Sounds great. Sounds great. So what is the best age to start receiving Social Security retirement benefits is another great question that we receive very frequently. In fact, all of our field office colleagues receive this pretty much every day. And as much as we would love to answer this question directly and give people an exact answer as far as when it's best for you to take your benefits, we are unable to do so. And this is because it is different for each and every one of us, depending on our situation, depending on our financial situation, our personal health, the longevity of life within our family. There are several different factors that we must consider when making this very important decision as far as when to start receiving our monthly Social Security retirement benefit. But what we can do here at Social Security is we can provide you with your options, and we can show you how your benefit does grow over time. And if you look here, you'll see in this screen, you're going to see an example of one person. This is one example of one individual that if they were to take their benefit early at age 62, their benefit would be $1,400 per month. Now, if this same individual at 62 were to say, you know what, nope, I feel great at age 62. My health is in great condition. My financial situation is good. I'm just going to wait until full retirement age to take my benefit, my Social Security retirement benefit. If this person does this and waits till their full retirement age when they're 67, they'll be eligible to receive $2,000 per month instead of that $1,400 per month at age 62. So if the same person at 67 were to say, you know what, I know I'm full retirement age at 67. I know I can receive 100% of my benefit, and that's $2,000 per month. But, you know, I feel great at 67. My health is in great situation. My financial situation is fantastic. And my family lives for a very long time. They live well into their 90s, hundreds. So I'm going to wait all the way until age 70 to take my benefit. If this person, the same person were to do that, if they were to wait until age 70, which is the maximum that you ever want to wait to take your benefit is age 70. If they were to wait, this person would receive $2,480 per month. So as you can see, the benefit does grow over time. Now, the earliest that you can take your Social Security retirement benefit is at age 62, as you see here. And the latest that you should wait to take your benefit is at age 70. If you do decide to wait to take it, the latest
And I'm just
is
going
age
to
70.
yeah, we have a question that came at what age you have to draw down. It's by 70. So we can go, we can get that question answered. Do you get penalized if you don't apply by age 62? I think the answer is pretty clear, is that you can't apply before 62 unless there's certain circumstances, but I think that's a fair statement. Correct me if I'm wrong, Josephine, but the real numbers are 62 to 70, and you can see there's a benefit by waiting, but you can't wait past 70.
Correct. You cannot take the benefit
well-
any earlier than 62, the Social Security retirement benefit.
I'd like to chime in here real quick, Josie.
Yes.
Yeah, you could wait past 70, but I would say, boy, do you need a reason why, because there's a complete loss. Your benefit doesn't grow anymore past 70. So every month beyond 70 is a total loss because you're not getting a benefit and the benefit's not growing anymore. So it's maxed out. So why wouldn't you take it? We can't force you to take it. But, oh, it's a mistake to wait beyond that. And I've seen that mistake only a couple of times before. And it's never a way to get around it. So please don't wait beyond 70.
We do have a question that came in that says, at what time does a female able to get the full benefit? It doesn't matter. Gender doesn't matter. You can see the retirement age chart here at when you will get what they call full retirement age. Back to you, Josephine.
Yes, thank you, Luke. So yes, definitely. The earliest you can draw benefits, Social Security retirement benefits, is age 62. And as Mr. Summer mentioned, the latest is age 70. You don't want to wait, because if you wait past that age, you're going to be essentially losing money. And right here, as Luke mentioned, this is the chart where it shows you when your full retirement age is. Now, each of our full retirement ages are different because it's based on the year that we were born. So if you were born between 1943 through 1954, your full retirement age is 66. And if you look here, you'll see that if you were born in 1955, your full retirement age is 66 and 2 months. If you're born in 1956, it's 66 and 4 months. If you were born in 1957, it's 66 and 6 months. If you were born in 1958, your full retirement age is 66 and 8 months. If you were born in 1959, that full retirement age is 66 and 10 months. And if you were born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is at age 67. Now, full retirement age means that's when you receive 100% of your benefit. And if you look over to the right, you'll see it says percentage at age 62. As you can see, all these percentages in this column are under 100%. And that is because if somebody takes their benefit early at age 62, they are taking it at a reduced rate. And then if you look over to the far right, you'll see where it says percentage at age 70. You'll see that all of these percentages in this column are over 100%. And that's because if you wait past your full retirement age, your Social Security retirement benefit grows 8% per year. And if you wait to take it until age 70, you're going to receive a higher benefit amount that's significantly past 100%. Moving right along to the next slide.
I'm going to pause you here just because we have a number of questions that are right here.
Absolutely.
If a person has a deceased spouse and both met the age requirement, could the living spouse receive their benefit in addition to the deceased spouse?
Shall I go, or Josephine? Show you. I like this.
Go for it, Mr. Summer.
I'm hogging the questions, but that's fair because she's doing the presentation part. Well, it seems like you would be able to get one or the other, but you have to choose. So there are some situations where a person's own benefit might be higher later. So they take the widow or widower's benefit and they let their own grow, and then they switch over to it. You can do the reverse as well. Somebody might take a retirement benefit now and let that get to the maximum, the widow or widow survivor's benefit from their spouse, and then take that benefit. So we look and we compare the records, but you can get one or the other at a time. But don't forget, you can change from one to the other if it's to your advantage. So that's a great question.
I had a question that you answered, Mr. Summer, that I will answer for the group just in case they're not following along with the answers that are being typed. Because this comes up all the time. If my wife is 63 and no longer working, if she files early, is she still eligible for half my benefit as a spouse benefit when I turn 65 in 2 years? I'm still working currently. Mr. Summer, you want to answer that?
I sure will. Now, a lot of people, their spouses stay at home, and they're waiting to say, well, when I file for my benefits, my spouse gets half. That's a great strategy, because if that person is not going to get as much on their own record, then of course that's what you want to do. However, there are situations where, say that spouse did some work before and their benefit is going to exceed that. Well, they're never going to get half of yours because we want to give you the most benefit. So for example, if you're going to get $2,000 and your spouse is at home and on their own record, they're going to get $800. Well, of course we want to pay them half of 2,000, which is 1,000. So we're going to combine the benefits, give them their 800 and 200 more from your record. That equals half of yours. But what if their amount is, say, more? Then they're always going to be on their own record. One of the most important things to remember when that's the situation is this: if they have some money and they're eventually going to be on your record, there's no reason for that spouse, if they're old enough, to not take their own. It won't harm their spousal benefit. For example, if you're going to get $2,000 and say they're going to get $400 or $500 on their own, while you're waiting, if they're 62 or older, they should take that and not just leave that money on the table. Because when you're old enough and you're applying, and then they file as a spouse, it doesn't hurt them. It doesn't make them get less.
Excellent. Excellent. One other question that came in, we'll talk about it in more detail, but you did answer it. So I don't want folks to not see it. If I'm retiring at 68 and plan to withdraw from my 401k and pension, does that reduce the monthly amount I receive from Social Security? And Mr. Sumner answered, your 401k has absolutely no effect on the amount you receive. Another question that came in for the Social Security team is in this example, are the numbers static or do they adjust for cost of living?
Well, the cost of living goes up and Social Security follows that. So these numbers are not static. And as time passes and say you file later, you get the benefit of all of those things. So once you get a cost of living increase, the amount you get comes up. It will never go down, no matter what happens to the cost of living. So you're guaranteed at that minimum the benefit amount that you see there. In that way only is the benefit static.
Questions that everybody always has for these, so we'll ask them now. And there's one of them already on the board. Is Social Security running out of money?
Josie, should I do it?
That's one of your favorite ones, Mr. Summer. I'll let you have that one.
The Social Security Administration currently has count them, $3 trillion in the trust funds. And I wish that I was as broke as $3 trillion. While it is true that there are some future things that we're looking at as an amounts that Social Security is always, except with the exception of 2 years, taken in more money than it is paid out. In the future, that's going to change. And we'll be able to pay out about 78%, around 80% of the benefits, 2036, if nothing changes. But every time, historically, as in the Reagan era, adjustments were made so that Social Security keeps funding. And if you want to know the history and the track record, since 1935, everyone has always gotten the full benefit that they were entitled to. So I feel kind of good. Great question.
Are there plans to adjust the retirement minimum maximum ages?
Well, let's go for it. The minimum age is 62. The maximum age, once upon a very long time ago, was 65. That was when Social Security started, and it was for many decades. As you know, our life expectancies have greatly expanded. And if you look at that chart, guess what? It did change. And it was 66 for a long time. But notice, if you're born in 1960 or later, it's 67. Now think, from 1943 all the way until people born in 1960, there's only 1 year difference. That's a very static, very stable program. So at this point, there's no legislation on the table to change that. But if you look at it, that's an incredibly long time, from 43 to 60. Just from 43 to today, 2023, there's only been a 1 year expansion. So that's not the way that Social Security handles its manages its benefits, by just making you have to get older and older. So 65 was it in the 30s, and it's only 67 now.
This is a question that comes up all the time. So Josie, if you wouldn't mind handling, what happens if I'm still working?
Yeah, that is a great question. And that's what we have here on this slide, working while receiving benefits. So you most certainly can work while you receive Social Security retirement benefits. However, if you are under full retirement age, you do want to keep in mind that you have an earnings limit that you are subject to. So individuals that are receiving monthly Social Security retirement benefits this year in 2023, and working at the same time, and they're not full retirement age yet, their limit is $21,240 this year in 2023. And for every $2 they go over, $1 is reduced from their monthly Social Security retirement benefit. Now, when somebody reaches their year in which they are full retirement age, but they're just not full retirement age yet because they haven't hit that month, their limit increases. So for individuals in that situation this year in 2023, the limit is $56,520. And for every $3 they go over, $1 is reduced from their monthly Social Security retirement benefit. And when someone is full retirement age, they're no longer subject to an earnings limit. So at that point, when you're full retirement age, you can work and earn $1 million, and your Social Security benefit that you receive every month is not impacted at all. But continuing with you throughout life's journey, we are here for you if the unexpected were to happen. And I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Summers so he can share with you a little bit of information as far as how Social Security is with you if the unexpected were to happen. Daniel?
Thank you, Josephine. You know, we all expect to get that retirement check that Josephine has been telling you about that we're all anticipating. But what we don't expect and we don't want is to become disabled. The fact is, though, disability is more common than we think. 1 in 3 individuals will become disabled at some point during their working life. Now, for some people, that's going to be a year or so. For other people, it may be permanent and life changing. Fortunately, the Social Security Administration has 2 programs to help individuals who find themselves disabled and they can't work. That program is based on those same FICA taxes that Josephine just told you about. It is called disability, and it provides that income. If the following is true, you may be eligible for that. First, if you have an illness, injury, condition, or combination of conditions that's expected to last a year or longer or result in death and prevent you from doing what we call substantial work activity. And yeah, there's a number attached to it, what we call substantial. You must be younger than full retirement age because, well, the fact is there's no disability after full retirement age, and there are different criteria for visual impairments. And the important thing to remember regarding disability is this: it pays you the exact amount that you would receive at your full retirement age. And that's because if you're taking your retirement early, of course, you're deciding, I'm going to take a little less money, just like Josephine showed you on the chart, over a longer period of time. That's my decision. Well, you didn't decide to become sick. And whether that impairment is physical, mental, emotional, psychological, or what have you, or some combination, Social Security looks at that and says, well, look, we're not going to make it, even if this person is 26, 36, 22, 50, 45. We pay you as if you are your full retirement age. And so understand that is an advantage. So if people are retiring because they're not well, they might want to consider both filing for retirement and disability at the same time. Onward. So that's the first program based on your FICA taxes, and you know it can go pretty high. What's supplemental security income, though? Well, that is a needs-based program. In other words, it's assistance, it's help, like TANF or food stamps. It's for individuals who may not have enough credits through their work activity or recent work activity. You know, we don't forget about the person who's the homemaker, or people who become disabled as children, or so young, like they're 18, 19, they couldn't possibly have paid that 40 quarters in, and all of those other things that they're setting up to retire. But we do not leave those individuals out in the cold. So this assistance requires a little something different. Of course, you have to have that impairment that we talked about with disability, but it's needs-based. So you have to have low income and few resources. Resources being tons of homes and cars, even though we exempt and don't look at them all. There's one group, though, that doesn't even have to be disabled to receive SSI, and that's individuals who are 65 or older. Remember, the original intent of this program that came about during the Great Depression was to prevent people who are elderly or disabled from dying in poverty. And when people are 65, if they have low income and not a lot of resources and options, then have them reach out to us if you know anyone. Because even if they're getting a Social Security check or some other income, you'd be surprised. Sometimes there's some amount of SSI that we can pay them every month. Onward to the next slide, please. So there you have it. Quick comparison. With disability, the payments come from the trust fund. That's what you paid into over on the left, and they're based on your earnings. SSI, they are assistance. They come from the general fund, governmental general treasury fund, not from Social Security's trust funds. If you look to the left, of course, disability is an insurance that you earn by paying into it. And like I said, to the right, SSI is needs-based, and it helps you. The less resources and income you have, the more help you might be entitled to. On the left, if you look, disability pays the benefits if you're unable. And it doesn't matter if you have $10 million saved. You paid for this, you worked for it, it's yours. And SSI, there's a little more scrutiny, like all needs-based programs. Each program has different criteria regarding benefits for children, but just know if you're getting disability, it is possible that your children who are underage or your dependents, and sometimes your spouse, can be entitled to a benefit check when you are, because you paid for that insurance. With SSI, Each person has to be individually disabled and independently eligible. Onward.
Mr.
So there
Summers, we
you
have a
have it.
question. We have a
Oh, go
question that
for
came in.
it.
Can you receive both SSDI and SSI at the same time?
You sure can. I took so many claims from people who, let's just say their disability check was low because maybe they hadn't worked long or at low wage jobs, and they'd get, say, $500. I've had situations like that. Their disability is $500. And at this time, that person could get $400 or more from SSI in addition to that to help them. Great question. People wonder about compassionate allowances, but it's a way that we quickly identify some cases. It's built into the program, so compassionate allowances are not any different from disability or SSI. They're both baked into those programs. For instance, if someone were to come in and they say, I have stage 4 cancer, the doctor said that, well, we know that that's a very debilitating, deadly disease that makes that person obviously disabled. So we fast track that. There are many impairments that meet that. I was just giving you an example, but remember, it's not separate from disability or SSI. When there are certain conditions that people have, like Lou Gehrig's disease, for example, that's going to be a quick decision. I've seen the determinations as soon as the same day when I sent it down. I sent the case down in the morning one time shortly after 9, got the answer back before 2:45. Called the person and started their payments. Onward. So when we talk about spousal benefits and spouses, I want Josephine, who loves weddings and eating cake at the weddings and drinking champagne, to tell you all about this because she's told you about retirement. Now let's hear about the retiree spouse. Josie?
Thanks for that, Mr. Summer. Yeah, let's talk about how Social Security is there for you at your wedding. Let's talk about spousal benefits. So with this slide here, I like to read off the bullet points, but then share with you an example that has 3 different scenarios. So what is a spousal benefit? Well, a spousal benefit is 50% of a worker's unreduced benefit. There is a reduction for early retirement. And if a spouse's own benefit is less than 50% of the workers, the benefits are combined. It does not reduce payment to the worker, and the benefit is 100% regardless of age if a spouse is caring for a child under age 16 or disabled. So let's go ahead and in this first scenario, let's just say that I am full retirement age right now. And let's say that my full retirement age is age 67. And let's say that my spouse, Mr. Mueller, he's also 67 right now. That's his full retirement age. And in this first scenario, Mr. Mueller contacts Social Security. He wants to apply for retirement benefits, and he does. And he is eligible for $2,000 per month. That is what Social Security lets him know. And so he'll be receiving $2,000 per month. Mr. Mueller is very excited. He lets me know that he's going to be receiving $2,000 per month from Social Security. And I say I'm excited for him too. And then I let him know that I'm also going to reach out to Social Security because I want to apply for benefits. And so that's what I do. I contact Social Security and they look at my record and they say, oh, Josephine, you don't have any earnings on your record. Well, that's because I've been a homemaker my whole life. So I don't have any earnings on my record. And so they let me know that I'm not eligible for my own Social Security retirement benefits. And I say, hold on, I'm married and Mr. Mueller is going to be receiving $2,000 per month. Can I get benefits as a spouse? And they say, oh, yeah, absolutely. So they look into Mr. Mueller's information. I share with Social Security his information, his Social Security number, his name. And so they take an application from me to receive spousal benefits. And so what's going to happen here in this first scenario is since I'm full retirement age, 67, I'm going to receive half of Mr. Mueller's benefit. So I'll receive $1,000 per month. And so that is what I will receive as a spouse in this first scenario. Now I come home and I tell Mr. Mueller, I'm super excited that I'm going to be receiving benefits off of his record. And he looks at me and he says, oh, honey, I love you and all, but I don't know if I'm thrilled about that because I don't want my own benefit to change. And so he contacts Social Security because he is concerned, and Social Security lets him know that he has nothing to worry about because he will continue to receive his $2,000 a month, even though I'm receiving benefits off of his record. So I want to draw your attention to the bullet point where it says, if the benefit is 50% of the workers, if the benefit is 50% of the workers unreduced benefit, so I receive 50% of Mr. Mueller's record, as you saw in that first scenario, I receive $1,000. And then I want to draw your attention to the fourth bullet point down where it says it does not reduce payment to the worker. So just because I'm receiving benefits as a spouse off of Mr. Mueller's record, it's not going to change what he receives every month. So that's the first scenario. Now let's move on to the second scenario. The second scenario, we're going to say that I am still full retirement age right now. I'm 67. Mr. Mueller is also full retirement age 67. But the difference in the second scenario is that I worked some outside of the household, not a lot, but some. So when I contact Social Security, they're going to tell me that I'm eligible for $500 per month. Now we're going to keep Mr. Mueller's benefit at $2,000 a month still, and my own benefit is $500 a month. So what's going to happen in the second scenario is, since my benefit is $500 a month, Social Security is going to take a spousal application from me as well. So then I'll get $500 a month as a spouse off of Mr. Mueller's record. So that bumps me up to his half, which is $1,000. So I'll receive $500 a month off of my own record based on my own earnings, and $500 off of Mr. Mueller's record as a spouse to put me at his half, which is that $1,000. And that's where I want to draw your attention to the third bullet point where it says if a spouse's own benefit is less than 50% of the workers, the benefits are combined. In the second scenario, these benefits have been combined. Now, the last and third scenario, we're going to say that I'm still full retirement age 67. Mr. Mueller is full retirement age 67, and he's still receiving $2,000 a month from Social Security. But in the third scenario, the difference is that I'll be receiving $3,000 per month off of my own record based off of my own earnings, because I worked significantly outside of the household and made a good income. So in this third scenario, since my own monthly benefit is greater than what I could receive off of Mr. Mueller's record, then I am not eligible to receive benefits as a spouse in this third scenario, because my own benefit is greater than half of his. So essentially, this is how spousal benefits works. Any questions that have come through the chat on this, Luke?
There was a quick question that I think was eligible, but just one came to the chat is a domestic partner, i.e. Colorado common law marriage, a spouse to be able to receive spousal benefits?
Okay. I like that question because I've dealt with that before. So if Josephine wants to do it, I'll let her, but if not, I'll grab it.
Giving it to you, passing the ball to you, Mr. Summer.
All right. I've done these cases before. Now, I've had people who say, but I'm a common law married person. And in Indiana, that's not been the case since 1958, where we recognized it. But I have had a few people from Colorado and Texas, because there's like about a dozen states that recognize common law marriage. If you meet those common law criteria in your state, then yes, they can receive spousal benefits. And what I had to do is when this lady came from Texas, and I asked her all the questions that what comprises a common law per Texas. She met all the criteria, checked the boxes, and I started her benefits. And I do happen to know that Colorado is one of those common law states. They've recognized it for more than a century. So absolutely, a domestic partner in Colorado can receive spousal benefits if that was the state they were residing in. And even if they move, if they were there long enough, yes.
If a spouse is a teacher and does not receive Social Security benefits, are they eligible for spousal benefits?
Josie, I think you'll like this one.
I'll go ahead and take that one. That's a great question. And so when someone is a individual who is a teacher who paid into a different pension system, which is if you're eligible to receive a non-covered pension, that means you did not pay into Social Security FICA taxes, you are impacted by what's called the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. So if you are a spouse what it impacts you is the government pension offset. So it is possible that if your own pension is greater than, if 2/3 of it is greater than what you could receive off of your spouse's record, then you may be completely offset. But it's important to always double check with Social Security to find out, so we can actually look at the numbers to see if you are eligible for benefits as a spouse or not. But we do take into consideration the pension that you're going to be receiving, your teacher's pension. Great question.
Excellent. And so let's push forward it back into the deck here. There's no open questions.
Yeah, so moving on to the next slide here, just as there's benefits for currently married spouses, there's also benefits for divorced spouses. And some of the differences, two of the major differences here for divorced spouses is that if you are a divorced spouse and you are seeking to apply for spousal benefits, you must prove that you were married 10 years or more in order to be eligible to receive benefits as a divorced spouse. So Social Security will request to see a divorce decree showing the duration of marriage. And in order to be eligible for benefits as a divorced spouse, that divorce decree must show that you were married 10 years or more. It cannot be a day short. It has to be 10 years or more. Another difference is that when you are applying to apply to receive benefits as a divorced spouse, you do not have to wait for your ex-spouse to draw benefits in order for you to be eligible for benefits. You can take those benefits if you meet all other criteria. When somebody is a currently married spouse seeking to apply for spousal benefits, the only way they can apply for those spousal benefits is if their currently married spouse has already applied for their own retirement benefit. But as a divorced spouse, you do not have to wait for your ex-spouse. So that is a little bit about divorced spouses benefits. And we're going to move along here, because just as we're with you if for spousal benefits, we're also there for you if you were to lose a loved one. So we want to go ahead and share some information regarding survivors benefits. Earlier during the retirement segment, I talked about how the earliest you can receive Social Security retirement benefits is at age 62. However, if you are a surviving spouse, you are able to apply for benefits even earlier. You're eligible for benefits earlier at age 60. And if you take your survivor's benefit at age 60, you receive 71.5% of your full benefit. And if you wait to take your survivor's benefit until you are your full retirement age, you will receive 100% of that benefit. Essentially, you can claim survivor's benefits at any age between 60 and your full retirement age. So just as a spouse is eligible for survivor's benefits, a child is also eligible for survivor's benefits. So as you can see here in the next slide, a child may receive benefits if they're not married and are under the age of 18 or under the age of 19 and still in high school. A disabled child may receive benefits beyond age 18 if they're not married and were found to be disabled prior to age 22. And of course, a widow, widower, or divorced widow, widower may receive benefits, full benefits at their full retirement age, or receive the reduced benefits, survivor's benefit at age 60, or even earlier, as early as age 50, if they are disabled, or at any age if caring for a child under age 16 or a disabled child. So that's a little bit about survivor's benefits.
Yep.
Yes.
We have a question that came in. What about separated spouses? Are they able to piggyback on their spouse?
Separated. So if the person is separated and not legally divorced, they're still considered currently married. So then they'd receive spousal benefits, or if they're, if they never were legally divorced, then they would still be considered a spouse.
The question came back with, my spouse is 15 years older than me. I'm still working. He retired at 70. Do I get his benefit and mine if I retire then at age 70?
It is possible for an individual to receive both benefits, but we would have to look at the individual records to see if your benefit that you receive is lower than half of your spouse's benefit. It is possible, though.
Is
Anything to add to that,
survivor
Mr. Summer?
benefits?
Well, just remember that combined benefit is not going to exceed 50% of that spousal's benefit, and it's given to you only in the event that your benefit is the lesser of the benefits. If your benefit is higher, you'll get your own. And I noticed that the next question here leads right into that. Is survivor benefits in addition to my own benefit? Remember, A survivor's benefit is that either or thing that we're going to look at your retirement benefits that you receive or survivor's benefits in the form of widow or widowers. And so therefore, we're going to choose what gives you the most money. Sometimes people, again, will take one benefit, let the other one grow, then switch over, and that can work either way for survivor or retirement, whatever gives you the highest benefit, one or the other.
What is the rule for surviving benefits when the surviving spouse was the one with the government pension? Does that still fall under the windfall provision?
Josie, this one's
Yeah.
made for you.
So yes, that's a great question. And if you are a surviving spouse who didn't receive a government pension or is not receiving a non-covered pension,
No, the
then
surviving spouse in this question does have the government pension.
the surviving, so you are impacted by it. Yes, you're always, that government pension offset or will always follow you as long as you are receiving a non-covered pension, if you are receiving spouses or survivors benefits.
If the separated spouse is receiving disability, is the spouse and the under age 18 age child eligible for benefits?
I'll let you take that one, Mr. Summer.
All right. If a separated spouse receives disability, first and foremost, if there's any additional money on the records, if the other spouse, for instance, say is age 62 or otherwise qualifies, then yes, they can receive a benefit. And those under age 18 can be eligible for benefits. The amount of the benefits will depend upon just how much that person earned.
Thank you. We only have another minute or we only have another 4 minutes or so. So we're going to race through a very, very important topic, and I'll turn it back to Social Security to cover this as quickly and efficiently as they can.
I know what the good stuff is on here, so I'm going to give it to you right here because it's all on this slide. I want you to know what Social Security is and what it has to do with Medicare. For instance, Part A is when you are hospitalized. Most people are going to take that. And Part B is medical insurance. That's when you go to the doctor, you cough, you stick out your tongue. Pretty important stuff. But A and B are unique in that they are what we call original Medicare. Those are the parts of the Medicare that come from the government. I'm going to say that again for emphasis. These are the only parts of Medicare that come directly from the government. Everything else you see, Part C, Part D, Part F, those are all private companies. Those things come from Humana, Silver Cross, Blue Cross, Blue Shield. So understand that Part A, you do not normally pay a monthly premium for because you paid Medicare taxes while working. So if you're an inpatient in a hospital, that is what you would use. And most people sign up for that, even if they have group health insurance coverage. And you know why? Well, if you've ever seen an inpatient hospital bill, they really run into the tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So most people, even if they're working, unless there's a reason like they have a health savings account, take Part A at least when they turn 65. It's an option you have. You don't have to exercise it though. Part B, that medical insurance, a lot of people forego that while they're still working. And the reason why they do is because they're paying something out of their check for their medical coverage. So they're like, why would I pay another 160 some odd bucks for something that's not going to get me any benefit? So I understand that. Part C is normally, and remember, Part C comes from private companies, similar to the functions of A and B together, but because this is a private company and they want your business, they'll throw something else in there that's not included, such as dental. That's very common to a Medicare Part C or Advantage plan. And of course, Medicare Part D, because if you use your other parts of Medicare, chances are the doctor is going to write you a prescription or something, and you need someone who's going to be your insurer. So that has a separate premium that you can choose. But once again, you get to choose who you get that from, just like you do with Part C. Make sense? I hope so. And remember, go to medicare.gov for details. Now, when you sign up, we covered quite a bit of that. So I'm going to forward to that slide a little further, please. Can you advance the slides? Right there. Remember, there are three things that matter, and we're going to cover these two. The initial enrollment period, which is 3 months before you turn 65, And that's when you're first eligible. It's called initial because you're just turning 65. So therefore, it's your first time being able to get the benefits. So if you sign up 3 months or in advance, by the time the first of that month rolls around, you should be covered. The general enrollment period is January 1st through March 31st. And if you miss your initial enrollment period, a lot of people are kind of stuck with that. That is changing. However, you wouldn't get covered till July, even if you signed up January 1st. And a special enrollment period we give to anyone. And this is for people who have coverage through their own or a spouse's employer. You don't have to worry about when you're going to quit your job and how it's going to fix with Medicare, because we give you a special enrollment period that is whenever you need it. When the job ends or the coverage on the job ends, that's when you can get it started. No break, no gaps in coverage. And that's the long and the short of the Medicare lesson.
We
Any
have one
additional
question that came in.
questions?
We have one question that came in. Is A and B primary if you have Part C? Not sure I follow the question, so I'm glad you folks are on.
If you are taking Part C, you are essentially foregoing Parts A and B. And here's why. Say you're signing with Blue Cross Blue Shield to get Part C instead of Parts A and B. You know, when you get Medicare Parts A and B, that can go anywhere in the country where they accept Medicare. You can go there and you are welcome. But just like when your employer at work has a certain network of people, you can go to certain hospitals and certain doctors and it's covered. That's what Part C will look like. Part C will say, well, wait a minute, you have to go here. So you're essentially foregoing Parts A and B to take Part C. And like I said, they throw something in sometimes to sweeten it. For instance, dental coverage. Hope that makes sense.
Last question, and then we'll let everybody go. Appreciate the time. But what happens if you miss your enrollment period for Medicare and you're not covered by a group plan? What's the penalties? What do we need to be aware of?
Josephine, would you take that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you miss your initial enrollment period and if you don't qualify for a special enrollment period, you will incur a 10% penalty each year after age 65 for not having taken your Medicare Part B at age 65 during your initial enrollment period. And if you're not able to prove that you were actively employed and insured through your employer's group health plan, or if you weren't covered under your spouse's employer's group health plan, then you will end up going into the general enrollment period and will incur that 10% penalty per year.
Excellent. Thank you so much to both of you for being a part of today's discussion. Josephine and Daniel, we appreciate it. And to everybody that's still on, thank you very much. There's been a number of questions. How do we obtain a recorded version? I'm not sure that's possible. We'll do our best. But thank you to everybody that's been a part of this program. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And again, thank you to the team at Social Security for being a part of this. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you for us. Bye-bye.
Have a great day.